And welcome to another episode of Flyover Country. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show as much as I'm enjoying doing it. I want to make an addendum to the last episode that I did. Harvard is a joke. And to further that joke, I want to talk about Scooby-Doo. Remember, I talked about that. I said I would give you the official information here. So the gentleman who created Scooby-Doo went to Hampshire. Now, there's like 5 schools that are within literally a couple miles of one another. They are actually able to take schools. If, for example, you go to UMass, Hampshire, or Amherst, you're allowed to, and Mount Holbrook and Smith, you're allowed to take classes at those respective schools and have it still count towards your graduation. So among that, Smith and Mount Holyoke are considered the female versions of the Ivy League schools, which is why the Ivy Leagues tie into this. Apparently Amherst and Hampshire fall in that area as well. A little bit different situation, but nonetheless they fall into it. So, Scooby's from UMass, that's no surprise. Shaggy's from Hampshire. Fred is from Amherst. Daphne's from Mount Holyoke. And Velma was from Smith. I also want to make one thing perfectly clear. Do I think every single person that went to Harvard is stupid? No. I unequivocally don't think that. Do I think anyone that graduates from an Ivy League school wasted their money? Absolutely. I think you could have gone to a different school for a cheaper price and come out the wiser for it. However, do I think there's an advantage to going to the Ivy League schools when you graduate? Absolutely. And maybe that's why it's not a waste of their money, right? Because they leave there, they're going to have an inside track at whatever job they want because it's a very incestual world that we live in, right? We tend to only like people who are like us, who think like us, who come from our ilk. And we don't let people in from the outside very easily. So that community is very hell-bent on protecting each other and making sure. And you've got some very wealthy people for sure that have their kids go to Harvard and have graduated from Harvard. They're going to be like, you're only going to hire Harvard people or Ivy League people. So there's your advantage to going there. But you don't walk out of those universities smarter than I did walking out of ASU or Grand Canyon University. I'm sorry, you just don't. And that's what that video was about, was to kind of show the joke is on you, right? If you graduated from Harvard like Mitt Romney, okay, you're not a smart guy. Just because you graduated from there, you still have to demonstrate some level of intelligence, which we all know Mitt Romney does not. And for that matter, I'll say it right now, for that matter, Barack Obama did not. I don't think Barack Obama was particularly brilliant. I mentioned this a few times on some of my Man of Monologues on my other show. So, the example that comes to my mind with Barack Obama is when he was arguing about Senate Bill 1070. And this is a man who graduated from Columbia, right? He was supposedly this super smart, super articulate individual. I mean, when he spoke from a teleprompter, it was like God was speaking to me, and you hear I got to thrill up my leg, Chris Matthews and all of this lunacy. He's talking about Senate Bill 1070 here in Arizona, and he's like, I mean, I don't think it's fair that, if I kid you not, he did it this many times. If you're at a Dairy Queen and you want an ice cream, you might get in trouble. You might get thrown into the protection of ICE or into deported. I'm listening to this man speak, and I'm like, if it really? How about today, Junior? To quote one of my favorite movies, right? You don't get to sit there and tell me that you're this super intelligent, sophisticated individual when you can't put together a coherent sentence off the teleprompter. Sorry, ain't buying it. I could have made a much more intelligent argument sitting on my toilet than that individual made in front of an audience. And I'm supposed to believe he's super sophisticated. Okay, so that was the whole purpose of those videos. Just to let people know they ain't that smart. Which brings me to this video. Why am I doing this video? What's today about? What's this crazy lunatic in Arizona going to talk about now? Let me tell you what I'm going to talk about now. You ever notice why we're divided? You ever notice how they like to break us up? Why I got to go off on people like these elitist a-holes? Notice I didn't target a specific group. Now, I did in my podcast, right? My podcast, I talked about the transgendered movement. Made my opinions very clear on that. But if you listen to the entire thing, towards the end, you hear me saying, I'm not going to care one way or another about your feelings, but at the same time, I'm going to judge you by your character. I'm not going to judge you by your caricature or by the way you feel you need to be identified by. I'm going to judge you by the content of your character, not by your looks or the color of your skin, as I made mention the famous Martin Luther King speech. But you ever notice that more and more Democrats are coming across the aisle and extending the olive branch to Republicans and voting for Trump and switching parties or becoming independent? I mean, in New Hampshire, he had 25% were Democrat voters. And of that 25%, 10% of them didn't vote for Trump in the last election, but are voting for Trump now. That's significant. Why is that number so high? Why is the black approval rating of President Trump so high? Why do so many minorities, why are they coming across supporting Donald Trump? It's because they figured out the game. It's not an us versus them thing, right? It's not a black versus white. It's not a gay versus straight. It's none of that stuff. All it is it's the criminal organization versus the non-criminal organization. And the American people are starting to see the crooks. We're starting to see the hired thugs that is the United States media. We're starting, because I'm not going to call Antifa thugs. I'm sorry, they're not thugs. They're a joke. And the fact that nobody has absolutely fought back against these people is amazing. You've got a bunch of basement-dwelling, World of Warcraft, popcorn-eating, Pop-Tart stuffing their face full of sugar and Mountain Dew Monster Energy drink 30-year-olds living in the basement of their mom and dad, coming out with pitchforks and clubs, and we can't handle this? That's a you problem. That ain't a me problem. I want somebody from Antifa to get in my face. I welcome it. Because it's going to be a real short trip for them. Right? So I don't even acknowledge them as being the thugs. They're the annoying, loudmouth version of the criminal organization. But the media, they're the thugs. They're the ones that will go in and destroy a man's career, right? And then they've got the jury, the justice system rigged. We see that. And Roger Stone gets 9 years in prison. There's rapists that get 2 or 3. Hillary Clinton didn't just lie to Congress, which, oh, by the way, she did lie to Congress. She also tampered with evidence. She also destroyed evidence. And, oh, by the way, she killed Jeffrey Epstein. And yet, she doesn't get 20 seconds in jail. Right? Like, these people are never going to see prison time, and we all know it. We all know it. We just got a perfect example is, I don't know if it's Strzok or whoever it is on CNN, dude just got his walk-in papers. He's good to go. Didn't get convicted. What a shocker. Are you surprised? I know I'm not. No one is. And all those times Hannity's on his show going, there's going to be arrests. They're coming. Bombshell. And dude, miss me with this nonsense. Ain't no one on the left going to jail. Ain't no one on the left gone to jail my entire life, and I'm 40 years old. People on the right go to jail on the daily. But people on the left, these people don't go to jail, Sean. Stop sounding that trumpet. Ain't no one listening. Ain't no one believing it. And this was a perfect example. That's why Barack Obama can compete impeachable offense after impeachable offense after impeachable offense after impeachable offense after impeachable offense and never get impeached. And Donald Trump commits no impeachable offense and he gets impeached. Now he got acquitted, but he still got impeached. It made it that far. Not surprised? Are you? And neither are people on the left. I'll tell you something. People are waking up. Because it ain't an us thing. It's not a us versus us thing. It's an us versus them. Blacks and whites, we get along just fine. We get along just fine. Guys, look, I can't speak for California. I can't. But I've had friends from Georgia. I've had friends from Illinois. I've had friends from Maine. I've also, which that's not flyover country, by the way. I wouldn't necessarily consider Illinois flyover country, although technically it is. But they're a part of the elitist group. But I've had friends all over this country. All over flyover country. We don't have a problem with black people. Black people don't have a problem with us. Down here in the real world, we work together. We come together. We all bleed the same blood. It's red. We do. We don't care what you look like. We care how you act down here. See, you act like a fool, you're going to be treated like a fool. You act like a man, you're going to be treated like a man. You act like a lady, you're going to be treated like a lady. That's what we do here. And that's why we get along just fine here. So a little message to you New York elitists and you California idiots and you Oregon morons and your Seattle, Washington dumpster fire folk. I got news for you. We're fine down here. Yeah, we have our hiccups. We have our squabbles like any brother and sister might. But we don't hate each other down here, and we never have. Right? I know, South had its problems. That's kind of the annoying uncle at the Thanksgiving dinner table, but we set him straight. We set him straight. Now, he's got himself a beautiful, nice little, beautiful black wife. Right? Because down here in flyover country, we have two chocolate cities. The great state of Georgia, known as Atlanta, is a chocolate city. And New Orleans is a chocolate city. And you know something? You don't talk about that over there, do you? We don't have those issues. And I think it's really important for all of us to understand that they want us to fight each other so they can keep robbing us blind. See, if I'm busy fighting you, I don't realize they're taking the money out of my pocket. I don't realize they're putting my car up on jacks and scrapping it for parts because I'm too busy fighting you. And you're too busy fighting me to realize they just walked into your home and stole everything you own. Because that's what the federal government's doing. They're coming after your religion. They're coming after your families. They're coming after your children. And they're coming after your money. Your way of life. You work in a coal mine, you're done. They're coming for you. But they can't do that openly. See, they got to get you to fight one another. So they got to get these propped up, paid for propagandists to tell you about climate change and make you think that half the country's fighting each other over climate change. Hillary Clinton, 65 million votes. I'm going to say it because no one else will. I think about 7 million of those votes were dead, meaning dead people voted. I think another 14 million of those votes were illegal immigrants that didn't have the right to vote, didn't even know what they were voting for. And I think another 3 million were double votes, meaning people who voted twice. Now, my math stands corrected. I think that's around 24 million fake votes. How's the country sound divided now? Put that in perspective. Imagine for a minute, she didn't have all those votes. She probably don't win New York. She certainly don't win New Jersey. She's not going to win probably California. You want my proof? 2020, baby. I bet you all three of those states, or two of those three, are going to go Republican. Because we're not. But again, that's flyover country, right? Guys, Not even in non-flyover country, not even in the elitist areas. They know that's where they got to rig most of the votes, because ain't no one going to question 17 million people voting in California. Wyoming? That would cause an eyebrow to rise, right? So it's harder to rig elections down in these parts. That's why they want to do it with the Electoral College. It's all a part of the plan. Guys, wake up. We ain't got a problem. You know we ain't got a problem. You live down here. You probably have neighbors who are people of color. You probably have family members who are gay. And you're sitting there going, it ain't like that here. Well, guess what? It ain't like that anywhere. But they got us believing it is. Don't fall for the noise, because it's all it is. It's noise. We all have the same color blood. And it don't matter where you come from. It don't matter who raised you. We're all part of the same ilk. And at the end of the day, you can keep fighting each other and falling for this mess, but forgive me while I sit back and I laugh. I'm calm, not because I'm confident, because I'm certain. Now, there'll be videos where I'll go off, and then I'm going to go off on the left. Don't kid yourself. But I want to make one thing clear right here, right now, before this video ends. When I go off on the left, I'm not going off on the liberals out there who figured it out. Hell, I'm not even going off on the voters. I may ask how people can vote, but it's more rhetorical than it is actual. Now, I'm going off on the leftist politicians. I'm going off on the leftist media. So as you watch this show and you see my rants and you see me go off, I ain't going off on you, the voter. No, we're all on the same team. We're all Americans. I'm going off on the politicians that are rigging these elections, and they've been rigging them since 2000, maybe before, probably before. I'm going off on the media, who's complicit. Why do you think they were so upset that Donald Trump won the election in 2020? See, when you lose an election, when you lose a game you're supposed to win, you don't act that way. You're devastated. It's soul-crushing. You do a lot of self-reflecting. How did I let this happen? But when you lose an election, or when you lose a game that you had the officials paid off on, that you had the other team's players paid and bought off on, and you still lose the game, then you lose your stuff, right? Then you start pointing the finger. All the different things. I see it all the time in sports. I'll give you a better example. You take a look at football fans, right? When their team is supposed to win and they talk all that crap, and they know their team has gotten away with terrible call after terrible call after terrible call after terrible call. Steeler fans are the best example of this, right? They get away with so many cheap shots, it's not even funny. But the minute somebody cheap shots one of their guys and gets away with it, they lose their mind. Astro fans, right? In the baseball world. Man, they got so ticked off, right? Actually, they didn't get ticked off. They will get ticked off now that they got caught. And anytime they do something, somebody's going to be like, because they cheated. You're going to get mad because they know they cheated. Once before, maybe they didn't cheat this time around, but they certainly did cheat this time, the next time around, but they did cheat this time around. See, you become sore and sensitive on the issue when you're guilty of it. And that's just it. They're guilty of it. That's why they reacted the way they did Donald Trump. Not because they were shocked that he won, but because they had it rigged in their favor and they still couldn't pull it off. And they can't fathom why that happened. But they'll rig the next one. And we know the Democrats rig elections, right? Are we really going to say they don't, Bernie fans? This is one issue me and you can agree on. This is one issue where me and Bernie Sanders supporters are on the same page. The Democrats cheat in elections. Always have, always will. Ain't no question about it. Right, Bernie bros? Right, Bernie bros? But here's the thing. At the end of the day, there's a plan. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You know what that plan is? Be above the noise. Don't believe for a New York minute that your neighbor feels the same way that Space Cadet Rachel Maddow is on. Don't think for a minute that your colleague gets the same thrill up his leg that Chris Matthews gets. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. Those tweeters and twatters on social justice websites all over the place like Twitter and Instagram and all these things. Guys, it's 30 people with 3,000 accounts going ape stick bananas. And they're getting 100 of their buddies to do the same thing. That's all it is. When you got 1 million people that are voicing their displeasure for your business out there, big companies, I got news for you. It's probably closer to about 25,000 actual people. But they got a bunch of accounts. They're called ghost accounts. They're called farm accounts. They exist. Wake up, America. This video is a bit longer than I wanted it. But I think it's important that you guys understand, I know we're on the same team. But I need you guys to understand we're on the same team. Come join us. I don't care if you're Republican, if you're Democrat, if you're black, if you're white, if you're gay, if you're straight. I don't care. I care that you're an American, and I care that your character and the way you carry yourself on a daily basis is the way that would make your father proud or your mother proud. A way that would make me as an American go, that's one of us. That's why so many Democrats are voting for Trump in 2020. That's why so many Democrats have hashtag walked away. Because they're not falling for the noise. This will be one of my calmer videos, to be sure. But I hope you enjoyed it. Because to be honest with you, I think it's important that everybody understands we're all on the same team. We're on Team America. F yeah! Another reference if you got it. Right? We're on Team America. And you're not going to get me to believe that there are a lot of people out there who aren't. I think there are far fewer that aren't on Team America than actually are. I do know everyone in media, especially CNN and MSNBC, they're not on Team America. They're on Team Power, right? Team Criminal, Team Crime Circuit. The politicians, every one of them. That's why they call it the swamp, right? They're not on our team. They're not on Team America. They're on Team I want my power and you're not taking it from me. Well, I got news for you. You never had it to begin with. And that's why they were so upset with the election of 2016, because Donald Trump proved to them you never had the power. You thought you did, but you never had it. We've always had it, and we've got it again. Maybe they did have it, and we wrestled it away, and maybe that's why they're upset. But I don't believe they ever actually had the power, because at the end of the day, it was always down to a vote. 2016 was that vote, and 2020 is going to be that vote again. So keep in mind, 14 million illegal votes. People that weren't even able to read and understand what they were voting for because they were in this country illegally and didn't speak the language. From all over the world, not just Mexico. So please get your mind out of the southern border. I'm sure there's a lot of them. But people come into this country from all over the world illegally through that border. That's 14 million. 7 million. 7 million. Dead. Been dead. That's why the joke's out there. My grandmother voted Republican till the day she died. She's been voting Democrat ever since. That exists for a reason. Abraham Lincoln, American Republican president till 1864. Been voting Democrat ever since. Again, that joke's out there for a reason. Right? And then 3 million people in this country vote twice. They vote in Florida and California, New York and Florida. Inevitably, one of those flyover countries and somewhere else. How do I know that? Look it up, guys. It's not hard to find. It's out there. Are you paying attention? Are you watching? Are you asking the right cue? That's the question. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. This is Anthony, Flyover Country. Thank you for listening, and God bless.